Hey, what's up? This is Chosen, and in this video, we are going to talk about one of the crazier 10x events that Plarium has done in recent memory. We'll go over my thoughts on each champion in that 10x. We'll talk about the shard rotation, if it makes sense for you to pull, and we will also talk about the maintenance resulting in some of the compensation that you see right here in your inbox, and then we'll just get you a general breakdown for the Bivald fragments and everything you need to know about Raid Shadow Legends as we head into the weekend so you can manage your account efficiently. Let's get into it. Alrighty, so when you log into the game, you may see something like this, where you're getting a couple arena refills, some multi-battles, 400 energy, and an insane amount of silver with 100k coming your way. And this was due to a maintenance that occurred recently right here, where they are going to be compensating to all players who logged in at least once today on May 19th. And you want to make note of the bottom sentence here that you will only have 5 days to claim it. And then once you do claim it after you've logged in and it's been added to your account, it is going to expire in the shop. It's not going to be like some 99-day thing added to your inbox. You can see here, it'll show up as like 2 days that you're going to have to spend this 400 energy. So that will lead us into pulling up the Bivald of the Thorn counter. And right now we are here on Thursday, May 19th. So a good spot for you to spend that 400 energy you just got would probably be somewhere like the Fire Knight to scoop up these 5 fragments. And it is also still coinciding with the Dungeon Divers event. The champion training has already finished. And then with the 10x that we're about to get into, that is going to be this weekend's event launching at the same time as this Summon Rush, where you will have 20 fragments up for grabs if you are willing to go after that and pull some shards in order to get those fragments. It'll probably be broken up with like 5 fragments early on in the event, and then if you keep pulling a bunch of shards, you'll get 15 a little bit down the road to get the 20 total that'll be up for grabs. And speaking of the 10x event that is going to coincide with that Summon Rush, this is perfectly what we expected. We expected a 10x featuring 8 different champions because we had a 2x event last weekend, which means that we will have another 2x coming up next weekend, because it always goes 2x, 10x, 2x, 10x. And since the last 2x that we had was for Sacred Shards last weekend, it means that next weekend, as long as Plarium goes by their normal rotation, which 99.9% chance they will, that means that next weekend, here in about 7 or 8 days, we should be seeing 2x Voids coming into the game. So just make note of that. If you're YOLOing a bunch of Voids for one of these champions, like you're trying to get a hold of that Saris or that Deacon or that Magnar, bunch of good epics here. If you're YOLOing a bunch of Voids, just make sure you're keeping in mind that next weekend, here in about 8 days, we'll probably be getting 2x Voids. And honestly, this is a pretty solid 10x event. All of these champions are somebody that are extremely good to have on your account. So what I want to do right now is go over each of these champions just really quickly and give you a fast synopsis on my opinion for each one of these 8 champions in the 10x as we head into this event going live in game tomorrow. So first up is going to be Yumiko, the crown jewel of this event and the Void legendary that they are going to be featuring in this 10x. Now, in terms of like, if there was some sort of a desirability index in terms of what champion the player base in general wants to pull out of shards, Yumiko would be way up there, because not only is she amazing, but she is also super new. So there's lots of people that have not pulled her yet, because she's got really cool things like an A1 that steals turn meter. She's got, she pairs up with Hex champions, and she also has this ridiculously bonkers A3. That's one of the best abilities in the game. You're basically getting like a Kymar and a Warlord in one champion. You're decreasing the cooldown of all ally skills by 3 turns, which is basically a reset. I mean, lots of abilities are going to be reset within 3 turns. So it's not quite as good as Kymar, but it's still insanely impactful. And we're also going to increase the cooldowns of all enemy skills by not 2 turns, but 3 turns. So absolutely ridiculous ability, and that is why Yumiko is such an amazing champion that everybody is going to want on their accounts. Then we are going to be having 3 non-Void legendaries in Trunda, Lady Kimmy, and Lysandra, and all of them are insanely good legendaries. Trunda is kind of the DPS queen for the arena, probably the hardest hitters in the game with the Forge Rhythm ability here. When you build her with low accuracy, she places an extra hit because she does not place the stun. So yeah, Trunda can absolutely wreck in the arena, and you'll probably see a lot of people wanting to pull a Trunda even if they already have her, because she is a great one to empower and get more and more stats because she scales so well. Then for Lady Kimmy, just an insanely good general utility champion, and probably one of like the top 10 champions for the Hydra. There's really no team that you can't put Lady Kimmy in to get some value out of, because with her A2 and her A3, she kind of gets both sides of speed and accuracy. So on the A2, you're going to place a decreased accuracy and a decreased speed, while also decreasing your enemy's turn meters. And then on the A3, you're going to increase your accuracy and your speed for your whole team and all your allies. So not only that, but we're going to remove a random buff from all enemies and have a chance to place the block buffs here. If you get her fully booked up, it's going to be a 100% chance. So we've got some ridiculous abilities here on Lady Kimmy, and if you have her on your account, you're going to use her a ton of different areas. Then for Lysandra, she is an old school champion, was in the game on launch, was always one of the best kind of speed, turn meter booster, support type champions, because she has one of the best Rs in the game and a 24% all speed. Plus this energize ability here is completely ridiculous. You're going to increase the speed of all allies, fill their turn meter by 30%, and decrease all enemies by 30%. And she's probably one of the best champions in the game for the Fire Knight because of this ability here on a 3-turn cooldown, where we're going to fully deplete the turn meter with all of the speed that she cranks out to get your team getting a ton of turns in the Fire Knight, and keep that, once you get the shield down, keep the turn meter set to 0. And then we also have 4 epics in this 10x, and honestly, this is one of the best setups of epics they've ever done in a 10x. These are all insanely good to have on your account, and if you've been watching my channel for a while, you may know that typically I like to recommend that people use 10x events as an epic chasing opportunity, because it's much more realistic to pull epics, and they can be insanely impactful for your account, which all of these here are, and we're going to get into that. But Madame Saris is a champion that is insane because of her A3, is going to be an AoE buff strip, while also decreasing attack and doing defense break. So if you have a nuking team, you can remove all their buffs, break their defense, blast them down. If you're in a defensive team, you can lower their attack to make your whole team more tanky, while also stripping all of their buffs. She's also got an A2 that is going to be placing block buffs on it, and also fear in the right situation, while having another ability that removes buffs. So Saris is obviously an insane champion as far as an epic is concerned, and she's probably always going to be like in that top 10 range of epics in the game. Then for Deacon Armstrong, he is a newer champion, kind of added a little bit more recently to the game, but is incredible. I recently did an account takeover for somebody, and I saw in their index that they had pulled a Deacon, but I couldn't find it on their account, and they had fed their Deacon, which was devastating because I wanted to build an unkillable comp for them that would have featured Deacon. He is in a lot of kind of the new age 2022 unkillable comps, so if you have a Deacon, or if you don't have him yet and you don't have an unkillable comp, definitely a good opportunity to get him on your account to unlock more options for you in that regard. For Magnar, not only is he one of the coolest looking champions in the game, but he's also an insane nuker in the arena. A high HP Spirit Affinity nuker, which is rare. You've got a lot of your Magic Affinity nukers, Trunda, Foley, Rotos. You've got like Canderfon and stuff for Force. He fills a role of Spirit Affinity nuking, and he can hit insanely hard and do a ton of damage, which is kind of rare in a champion that scales with HP. And the last champion in this 10x is Seeker, and any account similar to Deacon, any account that doesn't have an unkillable composition, Seeker would be a great champion to add to your roster. I use Seeker in my unkillable comp, which is your standard one with like the 4 champions that make up the unkillable, and then I use Draco as my 10x, and I'm using the double Maneater, Painkeeper, and Seeker to round out that composition to pair up with my Draco to unlock his ability to do damage in an unkillable comp for 50 turns. So just to summarize, this 10x is one of the best they've ever done, in my opinion, with Yumiko, Trunda, Lady Kimmy, Lysandra, Madame Saris, Deacon, Magnar, and Seeker. So I think it makes sense for a wide variety of players to maybe YOLO a few shards here. For your high spenders, endgame players, they're going to want copies of the Yumiko to maybe add to their account, and also the dupe Trundas to empower their damaged Trunda. And then also for some of your beginning players, it could be a great opportunity to unlock some potential to build some unkillable comps, which is a huge quality of life thing for your account. And if you don't have somebody like a Saris, it would make sense to add that to your account as well to get that consistent buff stripping and all the utility she brings. So about 90% of the time, I recommend that most people try to hold off until 2x events, but this is one of the rare exceptions where I think a 10x here could make sense for a wide variety of players. You're just going to have to kind of play it by ear based on your account, and also while keeping in mind that next weekend we are probably going to be getting 2x voids. Then real quick, as far as what you need to focus on today, you need to make sure you are getting your Dungeon Divers fragments that are involved in keeping pace with Bivald. And now I want to dive into the shop and see if there's anything worth talking about here. So first up, we've got a dungeon pack for $20, and we got kind of a general utility. This one, from I remember right, is decent. We've got the energy of 300, gems of 200. We're going to get 2 days of XP. And then we're going to go all the way down to 5 energy refills and 3 legendary tomes. So right there, and a 2.15. So yeah, it's not the worst offer, but it wouldn't be like great value in my opinion. Then we got a pretty simple one here in the gem pack. We can just keep that as 20 and then put in 1600 gems of a 2.0. So again, not the worst offer, but I definitely prefer spending on the monthly gem offer instead of just buying gems like this. But in terms of the ones they put out, this one at least is in line, and at least a 2.0, it's not terrible. I like to kind of hold off and be diligent to spend around that 2.5 to 3 tier though. Then the special silver pack, and the last time I remember seeing this whole thing, it was not a good offer to scoop up in my opinion. The mini mix, we talked about the cold art skin here. It's super cool. Most people feel $15 is a little bit too steep. A lot of people would have been a little bit more in the market for $5 or $10. But there was also a lot of people I saw in my comment sections that liked this for $15 and thought it was a good purchase. So we can leave that up to you. Every one of you is different in terms of how much you value cosmetics based on the champions you use in game. The pack string here, the energy one is kind of average in terms of their pack strings. Again, I don't have it here to pull up the whole thing for you, but from what I remember, it grades out as like a 1.8 or so. So it's not the worst, but it's also not amazing. And then the Divine Life one here at the end is obviously going to be a pass in terms of $25 for a Divine Life set. So boom, that gets us caught up as we head into the weekend for what is going to be happening in Raid Shadow Legends. And if you are going to be getting hyped about Diablo Immortal, I do have a channel that I'll link down below in the pinned comment that I run for information, keeping you in the loop on Diablo Immortal as well, on top of the raid content that we're doing over here. So that is going to do it for me on this one. And as always, thank you for watching. Have a good rest of your day. Peace.